Democrat Kyrsten Sinema is the apparent winner of the U.S. Senate race, replacing Republican Senator Jeff Flake, who chose not to run for re-election. The race was one of the closest watched races in the nation and also one of the closest races in terms of the returns.
Cronkite News reporter Holly Bernstein joins us now in the broadcast center to tell us what this means for the 2020 election.
There are several factors to consider for the upcoming 2020 election, where Arizona will elect a senator to finish the late Senator John McCain's term and choose a president. Those factors include voter turnout and down-ballot voting.
And we did this because voting is a fundamental part of our democracy. Our country is at its best when everyone is engaged.
Voters already broke turnout records in the midterms, but Chief Operating Officer Doug Cole says even more could head to the polls in 2020 because it's a presidential election.
And we must assume that President Trump's going to run again. So that will drive out a lot of voters, just as this election went from a 48% participation rate last midterm to a 65%.
According to Cole, split ticket voting is unusual in a midterm election, but that's exactly what happened in Arizona.
What that means to us political analysts is that nearly 181,000 voters voted for Governor Ducey, but then turned around and voted for Kyrsten Sinema.
This could mean Martha McSally still has a shot at landing a Senate seat. McSally lost by just under 2%, but Cole says this might be reason for Governor Doug Ducey to appoint her to replace Senator Jon Kyl. Kyl was appointed by Governor Doug Ducey to fulfill the remainder of the late Senator John McCain's term.
That would be a very wise appointment on his part, because this was a close race. Half of the Arizonans voted for Martha McSally.
McSally would then have to run again in 2020 and 2022. But Cole says it would be easier for McSally to run as an incumbent. Political analyst Bob Grossfeld says for Democrats, one of the advantages of having a U.S. Senator in the Democratic Party is that the Democrats now have a leader of the party from Arizona.
Now, Senator Sinema will be a good addition to Senator McCain's legacy.
Grossfeld says Republicans have taken Arizona for granted.
It was a sure thing for the Republicans, particularly at the presidential level, to just take Arizona without a whole lot of investment.
Cole says Arizona isn't quite purple yet. He says it's trending more towards blue, but it's still a Republican state.
But what this shows is with a lot of work, and the Democrat Party put a lot of resources on the ground, it pays off. And you can see that by Greg Stanton winning so heavily in CD9.
Cole also says that for the first time since statehood in 1912, Arizona is going to have 2 freshman senators. He says the United States Senate runs on tenure, so Arizona might not have the political power that it is used to for a while. In the broadcast center, Holly Bernstein, Cronkite News.